We've got President Trump meeting today with a number of his top officials, and we're later on going to get the details of an ISIS plan that's due early next week, sort of dotting the I's, crossing the T's on that. Former CIA analyst Tara Mahler on that and what she wants to see out of it. You know, Tara, there is this talk that the administration right from the get-go wanted a different approach to ISIS and wanted generals and all of his top military guys to come up with that would be different than what we've done in the past. How would it be different? What do you think?
Sure, there are a few ways that it could be different. It could be an accelerated plan where we move in a little bit faster. In a lot of these places, we've been relying, for example, in Mosul on Iraqi security forces. We have limits on U.S. troops. I think there's about between 5,000 and 6,000 in Iraq right now. That can be ramped up. On Syria, you could see different options on the table. We've heard talks about ground troops potentially, which we have not seen happen to date. We also have seen potential areas for more cooperation with Russia we could see perhaps out of the Trump administration. So there are potential changes to look towards. It's unclear exactly what will be recommended by the Pentagon. Ultimately, the decision will lie with President Trump after he sees what the Pentagon suggests, which will probably be a number of scenarios and alternatives laid out on the military side. I will point out that that's just part of the ISIS fight. A lot of it also has to do with fighting them online. So that's going to be a key component, fighting the ideology and taking them down the spreading of their message.
Yeah, because they're able to recruit no matter where they are. So even if they're isolated in Syria or Iran or wherever we want to go, I mean, it's quite another thing to stop them from the recruitment. And they always go after disenchanted, largely males, particularly in this country. How do we stop that?
Sure. Even if we take back cities in Syria, even if we take back cities in Iraq, we've been there before. ISIS can still spread its ideology. All groups can spread their ideology. What we really need to focus on that side of the battle is getting technology companies to be stricter and the removal of this content off places like Twitter, off places like Facebook. My organization's been pushing technology that can do this. They use this sort of technology already, for example, in fighting child pornography. And this is one way to counter the spreading of ISIS propaganda if platforms, some of which are American companies, really enforce their terms of service that are on the books and took down horrific, threatening, brutal content.
You know, it's been a while since ISIS, you know, they obviously have these hellacious attacks on these compounds or shopping centers, but they usually save some of the more gruesome things they like to do as reminders in Western Europe or, for that matter, in the United States through some of their, you know, worshipers and recruits. That idea to make a statement, it quickly elevates them when we respond in mass military fashion that I think President Obama had said, I'm paraphrasing here, you elevate their importance. Well, obviously, if they're able to do that, they're automatically important. So how do we balance that without galvanizing them and making this a cause célèbre for them?
Well, I think a key to the strategy is sort of integrating the military strategy and the ideological strategy and not giving them undue attention where the attention is not deserved. Obviously, the media needs to focus on these groups and the places where they're carrying out horrific and awful attacks. But we also need to be aware of helping to spread some of their messaging and propaganda because their message is resonating in certain parts of the globe. And I think once you see, you know, over the next few months, perhaps a new look at how we're fighting ISIS online and perhaps some tweaks to the military strategy, you know, maybe we'll see an impact. It's unclear to me, though, that this is going to be something that's quick and easy. It's not going to be fast. This is something that's going to take not months. It's going to take years, if not decades, to sort of change the ideology over time. The key is here on the Homeland Security side as well, making sure we have the resources that if there are lone wolf attacks domestically or if there are plots, we're able to intercept those with good intelligence and good resources on that side of the equation as well. So it's both offense on the military side and ideological side, but also defense in terms of our intel and Homeland Security. All right.
Tara Mahler, thank you very much. Former CIA analyst. Good having you.
Thanks for having me.